They titled this BitLocker encryption bypassed again. So at the Chaos Communication Congress, which for those who don't know is like a really, really big white hat hacker convention in, I think it's in Germany, right? Is it in Germany every year or does it like change every year?
Don't know.
Okay, I don't know either. But either way, it's a really big conference. It usually takes place in Europe, I think. There's a security researcher and hardware hacker named Thomas Lamberts, and he showed in his presentation Windows BitLocker screwed without a screwdriver, how Microsoft's BitLocker drive encryption can be used to decrypt protected Windows 11 systems over the network. This requires one-time physical access to put the device into recovery mode and connect a network cable. It is not necessary to physically open the device. So this exploit belongs to the category of BitPixie attacks and has been documented since the summer of 2022. Microsoft has not yet closed it properly, although the bug has been considered fixed since November of 2022. I didn't put it in the show notes here, but the big thing here is this is also kind of like we just talked about with the WPA thing. This is kind of like a downgrade attack. I think on the very, very, very latest version of Windows, it won't work. So like step one is once they get it in recovery mode, they have to send it back to an older, what's the word I'm looking for? Like kernel or something like that. They have to send it back to an older version and then they can unlock it. And the article points out that like, this is a concern. I still think making devices encrypted by default is a net win, but they point out that like as of, I think the latest update, Windows 11 now automatically enables BitLocker whenever you sign up with a Microsoft account, which most people do. So yeah, it's very, I mean, again, encryption of any kind, even if there's holes in it, is still better than none. But obviously we don't want to lure people into a false sense of security. And it's kind of annoying that Microsoft doesn't seem to want to actually fix this thing.
I don't really like daily drive any kind of Windows devices, but even if I was using a Microsoft product day to day, I would still, because VeraCrypt can be a bit unstable on Windows, I found, just from personal experience even, as well as other people's experience, I would still be using BitLocker on a Microsoft machine, most likely.
I personally have never had any issues with VeraCrypt, for the record. I'm not saying nobody else has, but it's been fine for me.
Yeah, no, and it is fine, but I would actually, just for like sensitive data, I would trust BitLocker a bit more than VeraCrypt personally on my end. My point is that any full disk encryption is better than none, and I wouldn't let things like this stop you from continuing to use BitLocker. But if you do want something open source, a bit more reputable, and probably implements better security than you have VeraCrypt, just know that people have reported a couple horror stories here and there, and you'll probably be fine using VeraCrypt. I was mostly fine as well, but I did have a couple scary moments with it. So
I do got to point out, there have also been horror stories with BitLocker. Like, I think there was an update that broke it and people couldn't decrypt their stuff. Or, like, again, this is not the first time BitLocker's been broken. I don't think it was just BitLocker. I think it was, like, several different encryption softwares. And the only reason I remember it is because, like, VeraCrypt is not very active on social media, but that's back when I had a Twitter. And they kept posting, like, we are not impacted by this.
You should always keep backups, but if you're using full disk encryption, you should really keep backups, because if your motherboard gets shot or something like that, it's going to be kind of hard to recover your data. You can probably still do it with the encrypted drive. You might be able to like hook it up to another operating system somehow. I really don't know what kind of luck you'd have there, but definitely keep backups. Thank you for watching this Surveillance Report clip. This clip comes from our main Surveillance Report podcast, where we talk about privacy and security news every single week. If you want to keep yourself safer and more educated about these topics, check out the main podcast over there, and we'll see you next time.